Well, good afternoon. It's Sunday afternoon. This is the weekly meeting of Yes California, the Calexit Congress, where we discuss the issues that you think are important for the future of California. Sometimes the meetings go long, sometimes they go short. This might be a relatively quick one, but first, check this out. We're just going to do a quick update about the documentary project. So we have the documentary project, the 10 Years of Calexit. And that is coming up. So I'll just do a quick update of that. Let me do a share screen. Okay, so I think you can all see this. So basically, we've been working on the 10 years of Calexit. So it's broken up into 3 parts. So part 1 is before Donald Trump. Part 2 is when Donald Trump got here, and then Calexit got really big. And then part 3 is after Donald Trump, when we were called all Russian spies. So it goes 2012 to 2016, which was kind of the boring early part, early formation of different styles of Calexit, the publishing of the book. Then we go to section 2, which is Trump gets elected, Californians freak out, and Calexit blows up really big. Then we go to section 3, which is a little bit sad, which is, we were attacked with rumors, and although they were disproven by 4 different investigations, that was still a factor. So right now, this is just the status of the 10 years of Calexit documentary. Part 1 has been fully scripted with all pictures and web links for scrolling. 90% of all the videos that we needed have already been downloaded. The next step is we need to pan the graphics. So the documentarian is going to take static images and just pan them, like basically scroll down the image so that we get a static image of a web shot screen or an email text or a document. And we'll have the video scroll down it so that we can make it like motion based, and then we can insert it in the video. So part 1, fully scripted. All the pictures, all the web links are in, all the research is done, 90% of the videos are downloaded. We're just going to pan the graphics and the text and load that into Adobe. Part 2 is where 80% of the footage is going to come from. Part 2, we have now officially 100% of the videos downloaded. So part 2 was the bulk of the project. It's 80% of the video footage of the documentary, and it's where a majority of the original footage from documentarian Driven Designs is coming from. And I don't know, that took 12 hours to go through, but we got down to 2 hours of original footage never seen by the media ever. So part 2, which is 60-80% of the documentary, is 100% of the background videos are downloaded and already set up. We have to edit that, make it more concise. It's about a 2.5-hour piece of just various video clips. We have to consolidate that down to like an hour and a half. I'll be working on that as soon as we consolidate that rough draft of the documentary down. I'll meet with Driven Designs again, and we'll go through and reload it back up into Adobe. Jason Wright has agreed to do the voiceover. Hey. And then part 3 is after Trump with the Russia narrative. We worked with different groups. So I still have to write the script and add the pics in, but that's going to be a small section. So that is it. Jason, how's it going?
Hey, my brother. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. There was slight technical difficulty getting here, but here now.
Okay. One second. Well, it's not a whole lot going on. I was just doing good to know Daniel Santoro that you're working on Instagram. Good to know. I was just doing an update on the documentary 10 Years of Calexit. Part 1 is almost done. We have it scripted. We have all the pictures in. We have the web links in. And then we have the Calexit Socialist movement. I'm sorry. I didn't get much rest. Then part 2 is Calexit, the main topic. 80% loaded in, bulk of the footage done. And then part 3 is the after Trump being called Russian spies, trying to work with other groups, leading us up to now in midterms, which we haven't scripted yet. So we're about 60% done with the thing. But real quick, we got a question from Kristen Brewer, probably off topic. Is there anything new about that socialist thing? Is that like a part of Calexit or what's up? Let's go ahead and cover that. So, Kristen, good question. Please post comments. Kristen, please post questions and we will post them. 1 second. Oops. Okay, Kristen, ask more questions, please. Yeah, we will get to that. I'm here with Jason, so we will talk about the socialist thing. Thank you, Kristen. Let me pull that up real quick and we'll look at that. Rich, nice to see you. Be sure to watch the FB comments. If you see my buddy Angelo B, please give him a shout out. Okay, we will be watching for Angelo B. Okay, so the socialist thing. Like, is the socialist thing like exclusively about Calexit or what's more to it? Don't know how to word it. No, you're getting it well done, Kristen. And please ask questions as we address that. So basically, here's the long story. Yes, California hosted debates for the recall election of the governor about a year ago. During that time, we met John Drake. John Drake was a candidate for the recall election. Now, he was a liberal and he was a Democrat and he wasn't for the recall, but he said if you were going to have to unseat Newsom, there should at least be a liberal option. John Drake did very well. John Drake was he's a model, almost looking guy, well known in the Santa Cruz area, LGBTQ. He did so well that at some point during the governor's recall election, he came in 3rd or 5th in the world's 5th largest economy with basically no more than $500 invested into it. So all that's marketing and personality. John Drake did very well during the campaign. At one point, he looked like he was one of the top 3 frontrunners. Additionally, the Democratic Party was so impressed with his performance that the lieutenant governor, Eleni Kounalakis of California, reached out and personally talked to John Drake. I have her number now only because John Drake got it. So big poll, impressed the Democratic Party, got in the polls. 1 second, let me see this new comment. James, go ahead and post what nasty stuff you heard and we'll address it. It's not going to be worse than anything people said before. So go ahead and post it, James. This is how we deal with these things. Post it. We'll deal with it. We'll address it. So Daniel Santoro says, I love John Drake. Getting back to Kristen's question. So we're working with John Drake. Now, about a month ago, John Drake came back to Yes, California, and he said, hey, I'm thinking about making a new political party called the Socialist Party. And I said, well, that's interesting because Yes, California, under the direction of our new CEO, Jason Wright, has been saying that we need to get back into politics, sponsoring political hopefuls and trying to launch something of a political party. Now, originally, I know this is a long-worded answer, but this is the official answer. Sorry, Kristen. Now, originally, Yes, California was looking at having a political party where we would have Democrats, Green Party, Libertarians, Republicans, etc. And the only thing was like, if you were a California nationalist, then you could be part of that party.
Basically a party with no specific political ideological label to it. So not a Democratic Party, not a Green Party or a Republicans Party, a California Party. And the only thing you need to do to fit the bill is be a Californian first.
Right. So that was what we were looking at, and that's still on the table, and we still will probably come back around to doing that. At the same time, one of the things that I'd always advised was that forming a political party is really difficult. It's really difficult. It requires a ton of work. Most people do not appreciate the amount of effort it takes to get that thing up and off the ground, and the sheer volume of effort and people and coordination. And so I had agreed with Jason to help launch the political party, and I'm still dedicated to doing the California focused political party. At the same time, we're rebuilding, and I need soldiers and officers and members, and I don't have any right now to build a political party. So what I thought was, when John came, I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity. Yes, California can work with John to help build the Socialist Party. Now, I've talked to Jason a lot, and this is key. So this is a key thing we got to get right.
And I'm right here, so like, you know, I'm letting Marcus talk, and if he says something that's totally untrue, I will call him out on it. Don't worry. I'm just staying silent because he's much more well-spoken on this stuff than I am.
We have a great relationship here at Yes California where we deeply respect each other, but we respect the truth more. So we're very big on, hey, I got your back, but if you say something wrong, I'm going to call you out in front of everybody. Why? Because we're about, let's get the facts correct and not spread misinformation. And that's a little bit more important than your ego. So please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong at all. We're not a cult. So formation of the Socialist Party. So what we said was, yes, California will work with any here's how we got around it. So yes, California is not a socialist organization. It is a pro-California organization, period, end of story. However, what we said was that we would work with any political party that says that it's okay to talk about secession. Our goal is to talk about secession. Actually, let me write this out. So okay. Yes, California is not about socialism. 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 We're also not about the Republican Party. We're also not about the Democratic Party. We're also not about the Green Party. We're about, if you're a California nationalist, you're end of story. See how Jason isn't contradicting me? What we also said was that our goal is to promote the conversation around secession. It's to get Californians talking about this. And if the Republican Party came to us and said, hey, we're willing to have this conversation and we're willing to point out that we said some racist stuff about, then we would work with them. If the Democratic Party came to us and said, hey, we're still a little bit more corporate Dem than you're comfortable with, but we think it's okay to have a conversation about secession, we would work with them. If the Libertarian Party, who we reached out to multiple times, said, you know, it's okay to talk about secession, then we would work with them. That would not mean that we're libertarian. That would not mean that we're endorsing libertarians or Republicans or Democrats. We are about one thing, California becoming independent. Our goal at Yes California is not necessarily to enact that, but to get the conversation going. As we've always said, we think your elected leaders are going to make Calexit happen and you, the public, with a vote. But we wanted to get the conversation going so that we can have that epitome so that you can be activated to do this. John Drake's frankly willing to mess with us. He's willing to talk with us. He's willing to work with us. He's willing to say the Socialist Party is not about secession, but that it's okay to talk about secession in the Socialist Party. It's okay to be a candidate running on secession. And he said he would foster the conversation on secession. At the same time, the Socialist Party is not about secession. So we are working with them because they're willing to allow candidates to talk about secession and to promote secession. If the Republicans did that or the Democrats did that, we would work with them. Nobody's been willing to work with us yet. So John Drake was the first. He's starting the Socialist Party. Yes, California is not the Socialist Party. We are backing the Socialist Party as we would back any political party that allowed and fostered the discussion about secession. Again, we are open to working with Republicans who had come clean about some racist BS that they did, libertarians, Democrats, Green Party people. And in return, the Socialist Party is not about
Well, and so if I may, real quick, not that you said anything wrong, just further clarification, expounding upon all of this. So, socialism, the people who would vote for what we consider socialist type policies are probably the strongest single demographic of voters for California. Mainly because a lot of the blue votes, a lot of the California Democratic Party votes are people who want socialist type or would at least vote for socialist type legislative means. The Socialist Party of California being willing to be the place, to the political party place to foster this discussion means that we could all go over there. So a lot of overlap here, right? Blue voters, socialist. Socialist voters, Calexiters. There's like a three-way overlap Venn diagram going on there. And we could get one portion of it, and that's a decent chunk. But we actually could potentially, if we do this right and we all come together with this, we could bring all of that together, have the largest chunk possible that we could have. And that having taken the DNC's votes down to size in California, that would, well, I guess it's not DNC. My apologies. I said that wrong, incorrectly. Let me rephrase that. The Democratic Party of California's votes would be cut down to size, down to just people who truly are just Democrat. That would leave us as pretty much the largest single chunk of political party in California. Which means that when an election happens, who makes it into the top two? Us, our candidate that we put up from the California Socialist Party, and either the Republican candidate or the Republican candidate. One of the, two polar things. But that would mean that if Calexit starts to, and again, this Socialist Party of California is, and John has been very clear about this, it's going to be like pretty hell-bent on making sure that California fixes the problems that we have, make it a better, safer place for all Californians, both current and future. Yeah, call it utopian fantasy or whatnot, but this is not just fantasy because it's something that could actually be done. All we need to do is legitimately pursue it and not just, kind of play around with the idea. And so this party, hell-bent on being for California and for Californians, if it had a very large chunk of its own membership stating that they want Calexit now, then the party being built in this way for the people of California. What the people want is what the people get from us. Well, that means that if the people say Calexit now, that this party will have to start to look into it. No longer just foster the conversation, right? But it would mean that enough of us, not just Calexiters, right? But like enough of us Californians who either are Calexiters or would potentially Calexit if it's proven to be the smartest decision, right? Because that's all a lot of people are hinging on is, you know, how do I know this is good? I mean, sure, you two guys tell us day in, day out that it's a good idea, that it's the best possible plan, but how do I really know it as a average voter who's not the expert on Calexit? And I say that's a fair question. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Actions speak louder than words. And this political party is the way to show the actions, the way to carry out the actions. And the party is being built from the beginning with the mind and heart set that it's going to operate that way. So whether or not we do end up going and doing some specific non-political ideology other than California independence, right? Just a self-determination based political party. Whether or not we do that at some point in the future, this would still be, because again, okay, I stopped myself because I was about to say we're not gonna, but it is most likely not gonna happen that we will Calexit if corporate sellout Democrats and or Republicans are the ones holding office in California's top positions. So replacing them with people who do actually represent and want to represent the interests of the people, that is a huge first step. If you want Calexit, that right there is one of the things, like the false narratives, Russia, 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 right? Which has been squashed down enough, like the federal government even backed off of us and said, no, those guys are not bad guys. They're not Putin. Nope, not interested in those guys. And so now the only other thing that's really blocking the way for the floodgates to open is just, you know, who's in power. And, you know, I got nothing against varying people who are elected officials, right? I may not agree with some of their policies or some of the things they do in their personal life or some of the things that they've said in a quick quote. But all in all, it's not about my like or dislike. It's not about my opinion. It's about if we want to actually Calexit, if we want to actually make this thing happen, which I do. And, you know, yeah, yes, California is dedicated to keeping the conversation going, keeping education going, bringing further awareness for that epiphany. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied today. The moment of epiphany, right?
I need to throw in a comment in just a second.
Yeah. But that all being said, I personally, as the CEO and the head of Calexit, would like to see it happen. I wanted Calexit now years ago, and I still want Calexit now. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, until the day California is independent, I will keep pushing for it. So help me bejeebus. All
Okay.
right, Marcus, your turn.
I just wanted to address the questions from Kristen. We have a lot of guests, and they're interested in the specific topic about the Socialist Party. So just to be clear, We are working on the formation of the Socialist Party. Yes, California will work with any political party that says it's okay to talk about secession. Yes, California is not about socialism. It's about promoting conversations around secession. Socialist Party took us up on our word first. Socialist Party is not about secession, but it will allow the discussion, not discourage it, and allow candidates and, quotes, foster the conversation. That comes directly from John Drake. Yes, California will work with any political party who does this. Socialist Party was just the first. We have been asking the Green Party to do this. They didn't do it. We asked the Libertarian Party since 2017 to do it. They didn't do it. So just the first party. Here's a little bit of information to get to Kristen's question. The California Political Party General Secretary John Drake, Chairman Pro Temp Mark Rees, that's me, Vice Chair Pro Temp Jason. Here is the link to the site. Here's the link to the site. Okay, and then so Kristen, are there any events planned? Can we register any merch links to the store? So right now, the only link, Kristen, that we have is this one, SP California at Twitter. We just showed you that one. That's the only one up right now. John is working on making the website. He purchased 10 website domains the other day. We are working on formulating the policies that would go on the website. So right now there's just that Twitter link. The best way to reach out to him is the Twitter link. Or if you want, you can email me and I will get it to John Drake. You can email marcus.ruiz.evans@gmail.com, or you can go to SP, I believe it's Twitter, SP Socialist. Is there any major policy differences coming in the works? I would like to see some fundamental change for the people. So let me show you a little bit of what we're working on. Kristen, this is a very, very rough draft. Hold on 1 second here. I want that to activate. So how do I get that? Share screen, window. Okay. Can you guys see this document here? It says follow us at SP Socialist. Jason, is that visible?
Yep.
Okay. So SP Socialist, here you go. There's the Twitter link. So this is all there is officially right now. You can reach them out at SP Socialist, or you can email me. I'll get it to John. The Twitter link is the best place to go, and or John Drake's Twitter page. So
Marcus, real quick correction. You keep saying SP Socialist. SP California.
SP California.
I've been having a few days in a row that are one of those days, so I'm not giving you a hard time or anything. Just
no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have right now is this is what's going to go into information. Overview of a proof of market for socialism. Where are socialists most active in California elections? Who supports socialism the most and why? How many socialist voters are in California and how much do they donate to political parties? This market of 15 million voters has been ignored by the Democratic Party, proving that. How do voters view socialism? What are the arguments for and against socialism? A little bit of look at California voters and how they look at these things. And then philosophy, how socialists view the world differently from Democrats. We're going to look at that and compare how socialists view certain issues like homelessness, crime, shootings, drugs, etc., different than Democrats. And finally, we got down to the top 20 ideas to improve life for moms, working folks, poor, and workers. So this is a exceptionally rough draft, not final, rough draft, could change, rough draft. Hope that's clear. Some of the policies are looking at rent control, which the Democrats won't back statewide. Minimum wage at about, I believe, $22. The Democrats limited it to $15. Some people saying it should be $22. And the Democrats put a cap on how much you could make by the year 2023. We would eliminate that cap. One thing that John was looking at was no requirement for previous experience for minimum wage jobs. So a lot of times when you get a minimum wage job, they say, we can't hire you unless you've already worked at Burger King. Well, they're minimum wage jobs. Like, they really don't need much experience. You should be required to just train people so that you don't have an excuse to not hire people. Another one was indigenous people get access to sacred sites across California. We're trying to work with Julina Acosta, indigenous activist, to help flesh that particular part out. Indigenous people do not get access to a lot of their sacred sites that are important to their culture. They're owned by private sector people, and there is no sort of support for them there. Some form of universal health care, as the Democratic Party shut that down, and into private sector prisons. California is flirting with that. And into private sector hospitals, the Dems will not do that. Mandatory 2 weeks paid vacation and free daycare for working parents. Democrats have toyed with that, but won't touch free daycare for working moms. Tech companies in California have to pay taxes on data mining for you. That's a brand new idea. No one's talking about that. Democrats are kind of in the pocket of tech companies here, so then they would never do that. No urban area can expand without providing 100% of the housing needs. That was John's idea about how to deal with homelessness. Californians can have an inalienable right to live in an environment free of pollution. Should be enshrined in the California Constitution. It is not. Putting all of the corporate money a candidate has accepted next to their name when you vote. So when you vote, it would, on the ballot, it would show the candidate and it would show all the corporate sponsors they received. So as you're voting, you're seeing like who sponsored them, and it would be using a symbol to do that. No company can take California water and then resell it to us. Clean water is a right in California, enshrined in the Constitution. Nationalize the big five resources to insulate California from price fluctuations: water, oil, food, healthcare, energy. Basically trying to make it where the working class in California is insulated from some of the major price fluctuations by nationalizing the resources that they've done in other countries. Bar religious leaders from occupying government buildings in protest. Limit protests of any healthcare facility, aka abortion facility, to at least 1 mile from the site. That's to limit religious leaders from doing anti-abortion protests in government buildings or harassing people who are trying to get an abortion. Enact the original Black Lives Matter police reform measure that had 3 essential parts scrapped by the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party said they were going to do police reform. The Black Lives Matter group actually wrote the legislation for them, and then the day before it was to be enacted, the Democratic Party scrapped 3 parts of the law and passed it anyways, saying it's a great day for justice. BLM was tricked, said they were disgusted by the Democrats, and the Democrats never revisited the issue again. We could actually pass the law that the Democrats were too scared to, that would actually do police reform. Prevent the police from accepting the donations of any military equipment without state authority. Given California has committed to no gas cars and then had the power out and then said unplug electric cars, the only way to achieve climate change goal of no gas cars is reliable power. The only way to do that is to reactivate the nuclear power plants around California. This will reduce electrical prices for most vulnerable, aka the poor. That was John Drake's idea. And then finally, decriminalize all drugs, something we've toyed around here with California, but have never done. So those are some of the radical ideas: rent control, minimum wage higher, making minimum wage jobs more accessible, universal health care, and into private sector prisons, into private sector hospitals, free daycare for working moms. Tech companies have to pay you taxes for mining your data. Nobody gets to have a rich home without taking care of the homeless. You have an inalienable right to free pollution, be free of pollution in the Constitution, and have clean drinking water. When you vote, you get to know how candidates are taking money and from who. They don't get to steal our water anymore. We're going to make it where the prices are insulated for working moms and for the little guy. We're going to bar religious leaders from harassing people who are trying to get abortions. We're going to enact the original reforms that the Black Lives Matter movement itself wanted before they were cheated by the Democrats. We're going to stop the police from having military equipment at all. And we're going to make sure that reliable power is here so that we can achieve our climate change goals. And we're going to decriminalize all drugs. So those are some of the ideas there. Let's see if there's any more questions. We have some more.
Yeah, if I may, there are a couple of, So thank you, Daniel. I would totally, I've done a major news source interview, actually more than once. they're just not really widely circulated and harder to find when it comes to here in North America. The CCTV interview that I gave some years ago, like I want to say 7, 8 years ago, uh, that was seen in, I believe, 56 countries and heard in as many languages. Uh, so I am always open for that, and yeah, I totally love doing interviews. Marcus or myself. Usually, when it comes to interviews, it's like whichever one of us has the time because he has a real 9 to 5 job and I don't. Uh, which, hey, not knocking it. You get to live a comfortable lifestyle that you work hard for, and I'm all about honoring that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd like to get back to the socialist talk as soon as
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
it's going pretty hot, and I hate to digress from tangents when we're having a hot conversation on this.
My bad. So, yeah, Daniel, or anyone else, if you happen to know some major news source contacts, or, maybe you got one in mind, feel free to reach out to them. Tell them that that you feel they should interview us, and we'll see if we can get them to bite, so to speak. As for James, kind of the same thing. Democracy at Work YouTube channel. Hey, brother, if you want to, my Southern brother, right? Even though I'm not Southern, right? If you want to reach out to them, and if they'll do it, I'll do it, or me or Marcus, either one of us. Uh, totally open to doing interviews. We love it.
Okay. Back to the socialism conversation. So I just wanted to point out that a lot of people loved the conversation on the socialist policies. Let's take a look real quick. So Devil War says yes. As we're doing it, Daniel Santoro says yes. James Young, who's not in California, but we love you, says paying taxes on data mining is a good idea. I'm calling my governor. Devil War says good idea for new law and new systems. Devil War, we agree with you. James says I'll email you, Jason. So James, I'm sorry. James Young says to Jason Wright, I will email them. Okay. Sorry about that. I heard you were a Republican a while back. Do you believe in socialism now? I was a Republican a while back. I left in 2014 or 2012 when George W. Bush did very well reaching out to Latinos. I don't like Bush. I don't like the war. I think he's a bad person and he's a war criminal worse than Donald Trump. But yeah. But Bush almost got 50% of the Latin vote. And then when they went to Romney, they lost. They went down to like 20%. And that convinced me the Republican Party was racist and not going to reach out to Latin people. So I quit at that time because I felt the Republican Party was racist. And what I want to point out is I quit years before anybody ever heard of Trump. So everybody's like, oh, the party turned racist with Trump. No, I was calling that out in the Republican Party years before anyone ever heard of Trump joining the Republican Party. So I left because of racism and because I called it out years before Trump came on board. So I just want to be clear, because the Republican Party is seen as racist by Californians. Yeah. And everybody in California, I saw it before you did. And I was one of the first Republicans to act on it. And I was one of the only Republicans to ever get on Fox News saying that I left the Republican Party because of the racism. So just want to be clear about that. I was a Republican because I believed in economics. That's why I wrote the book on Calexit. We lose financially, and I believe in strong economics. Oh, do I believe in socialism now? I believe in fostering the conversation for Calexit. So, and also whenever people try to pin me down, I like the German model. So some people consider Germany socialist, some people don't. Whatever you consider it, I think Germany's run their country pretty damn good. I have some friends who more left to socialist. Okay, Kristen. Jason, what's more left than socialist? Kristen, what do you mean by more left than socialist?
Well, and so that's the thing that I was trying to discuss with John that day was like, there's the common misconception that socialists are the absolute furthest left that it gets. But they're not. Really, socialism being for the people and all of the people, not just one group of people who happen to agree with what I agree with. Socialism, by right, by nature, is middle ground because it's built in not taking a stance only for the left or only for the right or only for the center. It doesn't matter what your political leaning is. If you're one of the people, we are here for you. So pretty much, let's see, I think Greens are a bit left of socialist. I think socialism actually is more in line with some of the tax type stuff. Because like you said, the strong economics, being fiscally responsible, right, doesn't mean you have to penny pinch and withhold. It just means don't give $500 billion to someone who's not going to even fulfill their contract to the state. That's wasteful, right? Green policy, and this is speaking as lifelong green since 18, so 18 years of being green now. And I can openly admit that when it comes to money and finance issues and whatnot, I am much more of a fiscal conservative. But then when it comes to like resource policies and natural type policies, I am very much hardcore green. And not a Dem, which is more like, hey, whatever we need to do to make it happen. Green is more of a, we want to pursue things, but we want to do it in the right way. Socialist is like, we want to do things for the people, whatever it is that the people want. So when they tell us what we want, we will figure out a way to make it happen, and that's what we're going to work towards. Oh yeah, anarchists and communist friends. Yeah, I've got some friends who personally, they identify as anarchists and commies, and it's funny because the communists and the anarchists actually usually can agree with the Calexit talking points and the right to self-determination very readily. When we talk, I've talked with anarchists as recently as within the last 6 months, and just open political discussion, not even a debate, and it was pretty interesting how quickly we both realized we're saying the same thing. It's just that there is a slight caveat to the end result. That's the only difference. The fundamentals are the same thing.
Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had conversations with John, and I know she's coming from the anarchist, even communist friends, but we got it to where, John, and I remember you were key with this. You got John to agree that somebody could even be a Republican, they could be a Green Party, they could be whatever. As long as you agree to the California Socialist Party platform, then you're in. That's what Drake said.
Yeah, and that's because the way that we can look at it is, if you are a California Democrat or a California Green, California Libertarian, California Republican, but then you go and join the California Socialist Party, well, you don't have to have some fundamental change of your views. If you're a California Republican who would consider joining the California Socialist Party, then you're not gonna you're already halfway there. You're not going to have some huge change of heart with an epiphany. It's going to be something you could just easily decide to do. For those who are super duper hardcore Republicans, no Heil Trumpler, and Biden for now too, because he's going to finish the wall. Those people will never even consider joining the California Socialist Party, not for 1 second. They're not gonna. We don't even have to worry about them because they will never. They will see us as something so totally wrong that they don't want. And that's fine. That's their choice. They get to have their opinions and points of view too. With the Dems, it's fairly similar. The people who y se puede. The people from the left who look at the California Socialist Party starting up and say, gee, this looks like a chance to get these policies that we as Californians, the majority of Californians, have wanted for a long time, what we have kept on putting Dems into office for because they keep on promising these socialist, progressive, very forward-thinking solutions, right? And they say they're going to do it, and they're going to pass it, and they're all about it. And then, the moment it comes up, they gut it and, throw in some extra little caveat about being able to siphon off money or something. The people who really want these sorts of things are going to see this and say, finally, someone who wants to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. We don't want to talk the talk. We talk the talk so that everyone knows that we are all about that walk. I'm all about that walk. No talking. But, really, seriously, anyone who can identify as a Californian who feels that California needs these sorts of things to be enacted is already, at the very least, halfway there. The other half is pick up the pen and put it down onto the paper, give your John or Jane Hancock. And yes, as a self-determination seeker, I have no qualms in using a John Hancock reference.
There's the Socialist Party. That's the main website. SP California, Socialist Party of California, SP California. Or if you want, you can contact the man himself, John Robert Drake. As we found out here, the Socialist Party is for everybody. Anybody could join, as long as you agree to the policies. And we just showed you a preview of what those draft policies will be. That's not the final, but if you're cool with those policies, you can be in. That's what John said. So John has some very specific ideas about what he wants, but he's also been accommodating in other things. He was very accommodating to us, saying secessionists can join, etc.
Also, to one of my personal real-life best friends out there, Mr. or Signore Bevona. Ciao bello. Shout out to a good friend of mine who, like many of us Californians, has been unable to stay in the land of our birth because things have become far too expensive. Things have become far too chaotic, unsafe. Just, pick a topic, any topic, any aspect of California lifestyle right now. As much as I love California, we are all about the truth here, and even a hard truth must be admitted, no matter how hard it is to hear or have to admit. And, being able to admit it is one of the things that pushes us even harder for let's find a way to fix what is broken. Because, damn it, there is a lot that is broken about our beloved Golden Land.
I remember my stepsister had to leave. She was born here, raised here, and had to go. That was 5 years ago because the prices were just out of control. I've had a couple friends, lifelong Californians, still love California, still think and act like a Californian. And as much as they complained about the politics here, they never left because of the politics. They left because of the income. Kristen Brewer, what kind of socialism does this platform personally identify with, or is it like a independent kind of socialism? Just inquiring. Jason, do you understand that? Kristen, I don't understand the question. Like, what are our options for types of socialism? Jason, do you get this
question? Yeah, and as someone of predominantly German descent, syndicalism, democratic socialism, national socialism. Now, keep in mind, national socialism is not really actually a terrible thing. It's that it's kind of easy to use as a ploy to sell evil to the people, which is exactly what led to Adolf Hitler and World War II. The people wanted socialism with their national identity, and they wanted to be able to feel proud of who they were. Hey, no matter who you are, be proud of yourself. Be proud to be who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin. And, I'm all for that. California all the way. That's part of being Californian, right? Like,
no,
you can't just...
hold on, stop. No, we're not for national socialism.
No. I'm getting to that.
And they're like, I'm sorry, it was already going there, so I had to jump in. Sorry. Like, we can't let people go that way. Please continue. Just, I had to make clear, we're not national socialists, so that's not happening here. I don't know much about this.
So I guess I'll just cut to the point and say it is not entirely defined what specific nomenclature we're deciding to use as far as, socialism. It is pretty clear to those of us who understand politics that National Socialism is about the one kind of socialism that should probably never be used, mainly because we've got a great historical example of it's too easy to use it as a ploy to disguise evil and sell evil to the people.
Okay.
That's the only reason I brought up National Socialism. My apologies if it's confusing.
Sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just, if we don't stomp on the rumor mill before it gets going, you know where it goes. So, apologies. I called John Drake. He's going to try to join the show. Kristen, you have some really good questions. I don't understand socialism enough to really address that. We're not doing Nazi stuff. Jason,
and again, the Nazis weren't actually socialist. They had a title that had National Socialism, but that's like, a Democrat could put a Republicans of America stamp on their forehead. Does it mean that they're not a Democrat? Does it mean they're really a Republican? No. And that's what the Nazis did. They were fascists. And we've seen fascism on the rise in America over the last 8 to 10 years, easy. The interview I gave for CCTV 7 or 8 years ago had a lot to do with that. Fascism has been on the rise. Adolf Hitler, his last command to his people was look to America as the next bastion for fascism. He saw fascism taking over America back at the end of World War II, long before any of us were ever a twinkle in our parents' eyes.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Made a point about Nazis. Let's move on. Jason, do you care if I'm going to show, just because I want to learn here, democratic socialism versus syndicalism? Do you know what those terms mean? Because I don't. I'm ignorant on this.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, go for it. It's good education for folks.
Okay, so we're not talking about those bad guys anymore. Democratic socialism is defined as having a socialist economy in which the means of production are socially or collectively owned or controlled, alongside a liberal democratic political system of government. Democratic socialists reject most self-described socialist states and Marxist-Leninism. Libertarian socialism and anti-authoritarian socialism from below. Okay. That's democratic socialism. Let's take a look at, what's it called? Syndicalism?
Yeah.
Syndicalism. Okay, syndicalism is a current in the labor market to establish local worker-based organizations and advance the demands and rights of workers through strikes. Okay. So there's syndicalism, advancing through strikes. And then here is democratic socialism. I had a better description there. So whatever that means. So syndicalism is that. And here is democratic socialism. Again, I'm not an expert, but I figured we could all learn together. So, yeah, there you go. Democratic socialism, means of production are controlled. Syndicalism seems to be labor movement does a bunch of strikes in order to control. I'm not sure. I was just really looking at the policy guidance, and I just wanted the Socialist Party to definitely have ideas that the Democratic Party of California would never touch. I said, if you're going to launch a new party, you've got to be different than the Democrats, and you can't do just the right.
One kind of easy, not 100% accurate breakdown for it, but for syndical versus democratic, is that democratic socialism is more like what we're kind of prone to think about when we're not, triggered by the S word, and we're actually like open to thinking about things, right? And we hear socialism. The democratic socialist model is pretty much it's what we generally would envision. The syndicalism model is like that, but a little communist-esque. Not the scary parts like where we round up people and force them to work in labor camps, part of communism, but the everything should be for the workers, by the workers, yada yada, worker empowerment stuff, part of communism.
Yes. Good point. John Drake is here. Sorry, I didn't sleep well last night. John Drake is here. John, we had some comments about socialism. Thank you, Jason. I'm not well versed on that. Sorry, going on little sleep, doing my best. John, we had some comments from a person here. And see, hey, John Drake is here. We got John Drake on the line. There's a lot of interest in socialism. I'm going to show you some of the comments from the people here about the Socialist Party 1 second. Let me find it. Sorry, doing my best. Okay, so John, here was the first topic by Kristen Brewer. Is there anything new about the socialist thing? Is that like part of Calexit or what's up? She said, is the socialist thing exclusively Calexit or what's more to it? We told her that we're working together, but it is not. She asked my personal views on socialism. She said she loves the Socialist Party. By the way, John, we showed a lot of the draft policies of the Socialist Party, and people here loved it. There was a lot of yes and awesome. Kristen Brewer asked, is there any events planned for the Socialist Party? Where can we register? Is there any merch? Is there a store?
Currently, we do not have any events planned. Registration has not opened up yet since we have not filed any paperwork. We are still sort of in the grassroots of creating not only the party, but the website as well. The only link I know of that is public is both the Instagram and Twitter links, which are just going to be at SP California. I will be having the website up and running in a beta setting within a week at most, and that's if my work and school schedule allows. And yeah, that's about all I can share on that because there's not really too much to share.
Fair enough. That's what we told her roughly. We showed her the Twitter page and said more's coming, and we showed the draft policy guidance and said it's just draft, but it's coming. Kristen asked, is there any major policy differences coming in the works? I would like to see some fundamental change for the people.
There's like a lot, and I cannot remember them off the top of my head. All I can really remember is like ending for private prisons, for profit hospitals, and a few other things. I just woke up.
We went over some of the policies we showed Kristen. This is a draft list. I'm hoping everybody can see this. Jason, can everybody see this list?
I am not seeing a list.
I can see it.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. So these were the policies. This is draft, not final. 20 ideas to improve the lives for moms, working folks, and poor workers. Rent control, minimum wage higher than the Democrats suggest. No requirements for previous experience for minimum wage jobs. Indigenous people get access to sacred sites across California. Some form of universal health care, and into private sector prisons and into private sector hospitals. Mandatory 2 weeks paid vacation plus free daycare for working moms. Tech companies in California have to pay taxes on data mining. No urban area can expand without providing 100% housing needs. Californians have an inalienable right to live in an environment free of pollution in the Constitution. If a candidate has accepted corporate money, then on the voting ballot, it will show who they accepted money from through the use of symbols like Chevron, Amazon, etc. No company can take California water and then resell it to us. Clean water is a right of Californians, put in the Constitution. Nationalize the big five resources to insulate the little guys in California from price fluctuations: water, oil, food, healthcare, energy. Bar religious leaders from occupying government buildings and protest, mostly for abortion protests. Limit protests of any healthcare facility, specifically abortion facility, to at least 1 mile from the site, so people who are getting abortions cannot be harassed. Enact the original Black Lives Matter police reform measure that the Democrats destroyed, AB 392. The police cannot accept private donations of military equipment without state authority. California will reenact or reactivate the nuclear power plants so that we can actually achieve our climate change goals, since we recently had to tell people to unplug their electric cars because we cannot provide enough reliable power. Decriminalize all drugs. And my favorite, here you go. I think, John, you said this before, but I want to give credit to Kristen Brewer because she made this as an audience suggestion, and I like buy-in. It should be banned that irrelevant, unrelated topics can be added to a bill.
Smashing.
Do you like Kristen's idea, John?
I actually, it's funny. I was going to call you later on today and suggest it, but don't worry. I have a few others I want to suggest later on.
Done.
Well, and remember, we've actually discussed some of that in our private meetings about this of like, that too often some sort of piece of legislation that seems like it could really be good gets some loopholes put into it that just totally outweigh any good that it could have possibly done.
Oops. All right, Kristen, it is part of platform. Sorry. John Drake approves of your idea, and it is part of the platform. I don't know why I put not. So Kristen loved that. We included Kristen. She's doing very well. A lot of support for the idea. Let me show you some of those comments, John.
And while you're pulling that up, let me just point out to everyone, you've got the 3 people who are like, on paper in charge of forming this whole thing here in this meeting right now. We had a fellow Californian come in, start discussing this stuff with us, and propose an idea that we kind of already agreed with anyway. And boom, just like that, her idea is now part of our platform. Like I said earlier, we walk the walk. We'll talk the talk too, because people need to hear it, but we are all about that walk, about that walk, about that walk.
I think that's dope. I mean, yeah, we talked about it, but Kristen just came up with this idea, and now, Kristen, your idea is in the platform. So I hope people can see that's not just a talking point. Like, if you have ideas, we'll include them. So, John, a lot of people like the platform. Let me show you some of those. So, Devil War said yes after we showed the platform. Daniel Santoro said yes. James Young said paying data mining taxes is a great idea. Devil War, it's a good idea for new law to make new systems. Daniel Santoro was agreeing with Devil War. And then we had Kristen join in. And she was very pleased to hear that as long as you agree to the platform, you can join the party. Because she said she has some anarchist friends. And Jason and I repeated the conversation we had with you, John, that if you agree with the platform, you're in.
Yeah.
She was pleased by that. Let me show people a few other statistics while I got us all here on the phone. John and Jason jump in.
Well, and also, if you two are both open to it, and Kristen, if you're open to it as well, I would not be opposed to inviting Kristen into the meeting to, talk rather than just type.
That's a great idea.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're doing. You're inviting them. Nice.
Kristen, join the meeting. Kristen, join the merge. I'm sorry, bro. 3 hours sleep. Kristen, join the merding. That actually means meeting. Here's the link. And in fact, anybody else that wants to jump in on Socialist Party discussion is open to click the link. I'll also post it in the private chat. Click that link. You can join. Kristen, we're glad to have you on board, or anybody else that wants to join. Hey, John Drake, how far is your party doing right now? So where are you at, John, with the formation of the political party, roughly, in your opinion?
I think we're fine. I think that we're actually moving at a pretty good speed, considering we haven't really done like a whole. I don't want to say we haven't done a whole lot, considering that there's only 5 of us in total, and 3 of us actively working on it. That I think we made really good progress. I think within the month, definitely by December, the party will be launched. I can guarantee you that. But I would say that I think we're doing pretty well. Yeah.
Daniel Santoro is here to join the conversation on the Socialist Party. Daniel, what comments do you have about a Socialist Party? Daniel? Okay, we'll get to Daniel in a second. John and Jason, while I got you here, let me cover a few things. So just for everybody coming up, here's the part of the reason why we did this. It's a proof of the market for socialism. So in the 2020 election, Bernie Sanders beat Joe Biden in the Democratic presidential primary. Bernie Sanders was an avowed socialist. Joe Biden was not. Joe Biden came in at 28%. Bernie came in at 36%. Oops. There you go. So that's over 10%. And this is what they said. If nothing else, Senator Bernie Sanders' robust showing in California's Democratic primary proves this. In a state that gave the nation Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and the anti-tax revolt, a decisive chunk of the Democratic electorate is no longer allergic to the word socialism. That's from Cal Matters, March 3rd, 2020. We can also see that Bernie almost beat Hillary. So Hillary won with 53% of the vote in the Democratic primary in 2016. Bernie had 46%. So in the 2016 primary, Bernie almost beat Hillary, almost tied with her. And in the very next one, he outright beat the Democratic candidate by 10 points, showing an increase of support for that. Additionally, we have a poll. CBS recent poll taken the week before Election Day found 57% of likely Democratic primary voters in the state had a very positive or somewhat positive view of socialism. So, Public Policy Institute of California said that about 57% of Democrats in California had a positive view of socialism. Also, as John Drake likes to point out, Upton Sinclair was a socialist, and he almost won the governorship in the 1930s. That means there's almost 100-year history of support for socialism in California. Where are socialists most active? Based on the recent elections of socialists to local city councils in the past few years, the two socialists ever to win office in the County Assembly and congressional districts that had the highest vote percentage for Bernie Sanders. There are two areas. One is San Jose, and the other is Echo Park, Koreatown. So if we look at those areas, San Jose City, they've elected a socialist, and they overwhelmingly chose Bernie. East LA, Echo Park, Koreatown, they elected a socialist there, and they also overwhelmingly chose Bernie. Who supports socialist? All voters in California who are 18 to 30 years old have a 50% chance of backing socialism. If you are 18 to 30 and you live in California, 50% chance. Now, what are the young people like? As we saw with Kristen, what is it that young people are attracted to? Well, it's the policies, it's the platform. Those will last any person. Those are generational ideas. To hear them repeated back by someone wanting to be president, huge boost of affirmation. Younger voters are less preoccupied with electability. They are more interested in bold policy change. That is literally what Kristen said today. Want to see some big changes. It's also what I believe Devil War Daniel said. So young people like to see big policy changes. They're less concerned about you'll throw away your vote if you don't vote a Democrat. Big, bold ideas. There's some of the hard data backing it up, 18 to 30. Now, if we add those numbers in, 36% of Democrats voted for Bernie in the 2020 election, right? Then what we're talking about is there are 3 million voters who are socialists in California. If it's true that 36% of registered Democrats voted for Bernie in the 2020 election, just most recently, then that means there are 3,032,000 Californians, 3,032,000 Californians who are avowed socialists, and they have no political party to join. If we look at the amount of donations those people gave to the Democratic Party, we are looking at almost $4 million in annual donations. So if that 36% from the most recent election is correct, there are 3,032,000 Californians with no place to go and who are not happy with the Dems. And they are sitting on almost $4 million annual dollars in donations. But it doesn't end there. Super Tuesday exit polling by NBC News found that 53% of Californians voters viewed socialism favorably. Taken the week before Election Day, the survey of 57% of Democratic voters in the state had a positive view of socialism. So if we look at those surveys, right, so 36% was what the actual election was. But if we look at the surveys that show 53% of support or 57% of support, we're actually looking now at 5 million voters, somewhere around 5 million voters, and somewhere around $6 to $7 million in annual donations is what we're sitting on, and nobody's reaching out to these people. As John pointed out, the previous Socialist Party is dead, and so these people are just sitting there. What are the arguments for and against socialism? I'm sure you've all heard them. So the people who don't like socialism, it undermines work ethic and it increases the reliance on government, and all socialist governments have failed. If you like socialism, what you think is that it creates a more fair and generous system and is way better than capitalism. So we want to be reaching out to 18 to 30-year-old youths in the San Jose, Echo Park, Koreatown region. We have a 50% chance, and they are interested in bold ideas that are better than capitalism and create a more fair system. And they're less concerned about electoral math. That's basically it. So if we can focus on those demographics, we can start winning. John?
Wait, can I go?
Yeah, Daniel, what's going on?
Oh, pretty good. I was just eating some churro, with cheetah. Nothing much. But I want to ask it to John Gray, but how much the pay you got for your movement, for your party?
One more time?
How much the pay you got for your Socialist party? Like, how many people want to join, or how many people ask you the president stuff? How many people do you got out to ask them question?
How many people have so far?
Yeah. So far. Sorry, I'm getting
yeah, the bit hard right here.
Yeah. So far we have around maybe I think six people in total working on the party structure, technically considered official members, because the immediate people within the party are those working on it in order to serve officerial positions and leadership positions while we create the offices and structures. But the market for the party is there. Like, I've talked to a lot of my friends in LA and San Francisco, even along the Central Coast and the CV, and many people are very interested in the idea and are very supportive of the idea because they want to see something that they can believe in when they vote for it. Because a lot of the time when people vote for either Democrats or Republicans, they're not voting because they actually care about the person or they like the policies. They're voting for the purpose of voting. And so when people vote for our candidates, when people vote for those in the SPC, I want them to be energized and proud of those votes and want to continue voting for those people because we have something different to offer.
So how many people reach out to you?
How many people have reached out? I think so far, I think because it's actually no, that's a lie. Joey Moro, he reached out to me. So he's reached out. I have 3 people who've reached out to me from Twitter who heard about the idea and love it. I have 2 friends who've reached out. One of them helps with union organization, and the other one wants to help with party finances and treasury and help do the budgeting. And then I I guess technically I reached out to Jason and Marcus, and then they reached out to their friend. And so I guess in total of those who have officially heard, maybe like 10, maybe 11, 12, but we haven't gone public at all with like literally anything.
So what's your next step of the party?
The next step is to finalize the policy, put it up on the website, finally launch the website, and then start getting people engaged with the website, get people engaged with the social media, start posting on the social media, start making those headways, and then eventually that interaction will cause more people to see the party. It'll pop up on social media, it'll pop up on SEO, Google Analytics, and then people will be like, oh, what's this about? Therefore drawing more attraction, and then pushing us into more of the public. And that's the thing that we can only hope to do, and the thing that we will definitely do, because I know the things I want to do with this party. And for example, we already have there's a very conservative podcast I've been on multiple times, and I guess they checked on who I was following, and they saw my party. And they saw the party I was following, which was the Socialist Party of California, and now the host of that podcast follows follows the page. This podcast has around 93,000 followers, and so that's already like a big headline. That's already like a big headway for like not posting anything on the website, for not doing anything at all. So I'm very proud of what we're able to do, and I'm very hopeful that we will be very successful, if not the most successful.
I just want to say we just got started, and we mentioned this idea on a show here last week or 2 weeks ago, and we had everybody on the show liked it. Now, it was only a couple people, but we didn't tell anybody we were doing that, and then everybody on our show backed it. And then today, we had new members, Kristen, other people popping up we've never seen before, came out of nowhere and asked about the Socialist Party, and then we started talking about it, and again, a bunch of our members liked it. So I know that's not a survey, but what we're seeing is a lot of enthusiasm in Yes California. Again, doesn't mean we're socialist, but on our shows and when we talk about this, there's always people jumping up and down, and we're seeing new people come in and want to be part of the conversation. So for us, it's working. We said if we work with John, we wanted to get the conversation about secession to be wider, and as long as people join the Socialist Party platform, and it's working. So I know that's not the hard numbers you're looking for, but a lot of enthusiasm every single time we talk about this, pretty much anywhere I go. If that's any indication, I think this is there's 3 million voters out there, and the California Democratic Party is not reaching out to them and never will, because it means they have to say that Bernie Sanders is actually the best idea for the California Democrats, which they will never say. So the California Democrats cannot reach out to these people because it's basically death for their party. So we're talking about 3 million people who contribute about $4 million in annual donations, who nobody's reaching out to at all and never will. Republicans aren't going to reach out to them, and the corporate Dems aren't going to act like they exist. So it's literally a pot of 3 million voters and $4 million annual that's just sitting there, waiting for someone. And when we look at this, Daniel, you're young, Kristen's young, all the numbers are matching up. Who are the people enthusiastic? 18 to 30. That a coincidence? And we had some people in the Bay Area, so it's all lining up. Massive support in San Jose, massive support.
Well, and I'm, as the social media master of the group, let me just point out for folks who aren't that adept with all of that. 5,000 people in, what was that, less than a month? And we haven't even gone public. When observing trends in politics, right, when you make a living off of noticing patterns and trends and being able to call it from years out, right, you see something like this, and it's mind-blowing, because that doesn't happen. Sure, a few hundred, 500, wow, hey, woohoo, good job, you got 500 random people saying, boom, this is what's for me. Before you go public, hey, you're doing a good job, keep that up. We got 5,000. 10 times the good job, keep up the hard work level.
And I would also like to mention that when this party eventually becomes an official party for the state of California, when young people go to the DMV to get their first license and they have the option to register to vote, they will see that party on their screen. And what do you think that they'd go for? A party that is known to let them down time and time again, or this party with the word that they love so much? I'm going to bet that they'd click our party, setting us up for the next generation and the next phase of California history.
So well said. John and Jason and Daniel, I'm ignorant on this topic, and just for giggles, Jason, I'm super ignorant on this topic. So let me ask the two of you. John, we already asked Jason, so I'd like to ask John first, and then Jason, if you could comment on what John says. Kristen had a question for us on what type of socialism are we pursuing? Was it democratic socialism, where you have a socialist economy in which the means of production are socially and collectively owned or controlled alongside a liberal democratic political system of government? Or were we doing the syndicalism, where you current labor market to establish local worker-based organizations and advance the demands and rights through strikes? So are we trying to, which one?
Yeah, I think syndicalism is very good for like socialist movements, but I don't think as a foundation for political power or trying to establish like a political party that's like a good way to make it last long. So I guess right now, because I believe that our party will be ever transforming, I would say that in the current stage that it is at, it is a democratic socialist party. But even then, I would still like to say yes and no. I think it's more opportunist in that it's going to do what it needs to do. So, for example, I don't necessarily identify as a democratic socialist, but I identify with other forms of socialism. But I'm not opposed to doing democratic socialism when that's the only thing that is going to be successful in a certain situation. So I would say that it's neither here nor there. It's going to be it's socialist. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we necessarily identify with a specific sect of it, because I think that we have to do what's best for California, and that means sometimes going a little bit outside of the brackets that are, or the parameters that are set by specific subsects within socialist ideologies.
California Socialist Party doesn't identify with any particular sect? Is that
fair?
That's
a good way of saying it.
I like that. And I know, John, Marcus, this is not going to be new for you when I say it. especially with how many times I've brought it up over our talks about the political party formation. But I see us not labeling ourselves down to one very finite, specific type of a thing to be one of our greatest strengths and like very much in the party's best interest, because it means that we are looking at a much wider spectrum for demographic. Who might our constituents be? Well, rather than 1% of a percent of a type, we're looking more at, you know, this whole overall group type. So we've gone from, you know, maybe the 100,000 people in all of California who agree 100% on these certain 10 specific things and they all think exactly alike. We've gone from that as our potential maximum to, hey, if you agree with these things that we would like this party to pursue in the interests of the people, that's all that matters. That, like, we, not even tenfold, like more than that. Like it's exponential, the amount of constituency that we would be looking over at that point.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it would be more of a disservice to sort of like keep us at specific levels. I mean at specific labels. And so I think that, like, for example, I know that Jason and I identify in two completely separate instances when it comes to identifying as types of socialists. I consider myself a lot more hardline and a bit more authoritarian, and Jason definitely sees himself more I don't want to say like a libertarian socialist, but he's definitely more of like a tender socialist. And so I think that's what makes the party work, and that we not only do we keep each other in check and in line, but because we're not sort of constrained to these specific labels, we're not going to tear each other apart like every other party does. We're not going to exclude people because they may be a democratic socialist, or they may be a Dangist, or they may be a Marxist-Leninist, or they may be something else. Ultimately, we're doing what I think is best for California, and I think that's what's important.
And to give a clear example of that right there is that we've been talking about Senator Bernard Sanders and his campaigns under the Democratic National banner, and how that banner that he was under undercut him even though he was the will of the people. That right there is the exact opposite of what we're all about here.
Mm-hmm.
So John, how will a person like me will join like your party?
Yeah. So if you want to join the party, eventually, when you're old enough to register to vote, you will be given the ability to register for the party in an official capacity in order to vote for our candidates. Let's say you don't even want to join the party itself. If you like what we stand for, let's say you're not a citizen, right? You can still support our party by sharing information, sharing events, encouraging people to donate and share even more information about us. But if you're able to vote, to join the party in an official capacity, all you have to do is register. And in fact, I would even say, I would go as far as to say that I consider everyone in California a pre-registered socialist until they've changed their voter registration to Democrat, Republican, Green, or something else. So I like to think that every person in California is a socialist until they're not. and so if you want to be a part of the party in official capacity, just register. But if not, if you ever want to have like a conversation, if you ever want to voice your opinion, we're never going to silence it. We're always going to encourage it, because if you're living in California and you are actively working, living, or sharing in the California experience, then you have every right to speak to its future.
I love that, John.
Thank you.
Amen
I do
to
the
that.
best time. I have been a fan of different ideology. I like different idea. I like different people's opinion. But I want to get like the bigger picture. I want to get people point of view. I've been a fan of that. I don't want to show my opinion on people. I just want people. I believe in. I am a pro-Palestinian activist. I actually like. Only I support Palestine, but I know some people won't support Palestine, and I respect that, though. I respect your party, and I respect everything about socialism.
Yeah, and I think it's so commendable. I think part of what makes California and even other parts of the United States unique is this willingness to listen to opinions that may differ from our own, and being able to learn and understand the experiences of other people, and being able to formulate our own opinions based off of those. And I think that people like you are what make that possible, and I encourage you to always ask questions and stay informed and stay engaged and challenge people on their preconceived notions of what they think is true by relaying your experiences.
Wow.
So I want to say goodbye, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you.
You too, dude.
Yeah, I actually did enjoy talking with you. So bye.
Thank you. Bye, dude.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to have you on, Daniel.
That was a great conversation. John and then Jason. Jason, you're CEO, so I'll let you wrap it up as we leave. John, last minute comments, and then we'll go to Jason to wrap us up.
Yeah, I was looking at the comments earlier. I don't know what was going on, but it's about like National Socialism or Nazis. Yeah, no, that's not whatever this is. I'm just gonna put that out there. But anyway, it's been great talking to you all. Sorry, I was a bit late to the conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't wait to work with the rest of you in accomplishing this, not only this dream of a party, but this reality that exists, and being able to win the hearts, minds, and souls of the people of California.
I'm just, bro, every time we talk about this, there's new people popping up, young people, excited people wanting to join the conversation. So I know that's not a survey, but on our end, it's doing everything we were hoping for. It's getting more people energized in the conversation. So that's great. Thank you, John. We will talk to you soon. We will keep moving. If you want to help, we are formulating the policies now. Get involved. Go to the California Socialist Twitter page and join that. Get involved in the conversation, or you can email me at Marcus Rubies Evans, and I will link you in. Otherwise, Jason, you're CEO of the movement, top dog. What did you think about today's conversation? What do you think that it says about the future of this idea? Is this a good idea? Are we pursuing it the right way? What do you think of the reaction? How does it fit with the climate now? Your overall opinion and analysis, sir.
Well, I thought this was a very productive, high-level discussion for sure. I would like to thank Kristen for her input. That was very high-level input, and I really hope that we see more of you in future meetings and broadcasts, because, you know, we do more than just the Calexit Congress. Marcus there does several to a dozen National Divorce Talk, Raw Talk episodes every week. Also live broadcast on the same exact locations that you're viewing from now, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You can find Marcus there live for the Raw Talk when it comes up throughout the week. So do join in, do get involved, please. Because as has been stated, really what's going to make it happen, be it Calexit or just a socialist reform of California and our political structuring and policies, no matter what it is, right? The only way we're going to make it happen is together as a people, one people, the California people. Sí, se puede. Orale.
We're going to have Jason back down here in Fresno very soon. You'll be seeing him on a couple episodes of National Divorce coming up in about a week to maybe 2. He'll also be doing the voiceover for the documentary, as we covered earlier, so stay tuned to that. New episodes of National Divorce coming up. We'll be having a week of Jason here. He'll be doing more of his interviews, and we will also be having him film the last part of the documentary. So,
one last quick word.
Any last minute comments? Yeah, absolutely. Last business, anything.
Someone referenced Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States of America, Pelosi. Yeah, she is currently in Armenia right now with Jackie Spire. Is it Spear or Spire?
Spear.
Spear, okay. There has been a war going on in Armenia for some time. Yes, California and Calexit has been the only place in the United States of America that has been, one, actively tuned in, listening, watching, taking down records, yada yada. 2, supporting by helping to make sure that the truth and what's going on comes to light in the United States of America. Now, Nancy Pelosi can't be bothered 99.9% of the time, other than right before midterms, all of a sudden she's willing to go there and meet with the prime minister who the people have been so unhappy with that they're rioting, mass, and when I say mass, I'm not talking a large protest. I'm talking mass like the 3 million people that we had marching through LA when Trump was elected, that kind of mass protesting, calling for this man and an end to his corruption, right? They want him down, they want him gone, they want him out. Some people want him tried for his crimes against their people. And Nancy Pelosi, because she likes that Armenian Democratic donation money, decides that now is the time to give a little, PR and, remind Armenians that they need to keep voting her into power because she's the only person who's going to stand up for them and help to protect them from the people that get their armaments from the government that she helps to run. Yeah, the United States of America helps Turkey and Azerbaijan with armaments, which they then use against Armenia, who is a registered, legitimate, legal, allied nation to the United States of America. America's ally, Armenia. Armenia getting attacked by Turkey and Azerbaijan, America decides to give those 2 countries more armaments to go and kill more Armenians. And the whole time, Nikol Pashinyan, prime minister right now of Armenia, is doing these deals, basically just selling off the lands, the towns, the people. He is selling his country, and the people are furious. Nancy Pelosi, if she really was in tune with Armenians and the Armenian wants and needs, would know that that would be the worst thing she could do, is being seen shaking hands with the person that Armenians kind of view to be like a Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump is to non-Trumper Americans as Nikol Pashinyan is to like 99% of Armenia and Armenians around the world. And don't forget, well, Emmanuel Macron was Monsieur le Président of France. He even pointed out that Armenians live, by and large, in countries outside of Armenia. Countries such as Belgium, France, and California. Yeah, those are the words that he chose when talking about nations where Armenians live. Even France can recognize we're on their level. Why can't we? While we're here, staying tuned, trying to push to do the right thing or have the right thing done, we've got inept leadership, and they're really inept because they don't really care. Evidenced by the fact that they would go and do something like go and meet with Pashinyan. Like the worst message she could send to Armenians around the world is, hey, I am chummy with this guy that you all feel has stabbed you all in the back. So, if you ever think that Nancy Pelosi knows what she's talking about or knows what she's doing, keep this in mind. She very clearly doesn't, or else she would not have done this. I also would like to point out, isn't Jackie Spear, didn't she say something at one point about California should, do something that seemed kind of radical at the time or something like that?
Jackie Spear, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor around, 2007, said that California should consider seceding because we were a donor state. Let me see if I can find that. But it's interesting that California basically treats Armenia and the breakaway province as a separate country. Artsakh as a separate country, unilaterally did that. And then, which is kind of acting like a nation to recognize another country and say, I declare you a nation. That's sort of acting like a nation. California doesn't have any legal authority to do that, but they did that with Artsakh. And then, so they have that relation with Armenia. And then on their trip to Armenia, they bring the California legislator who said California should be independent. So, they're already hanging out with this country and they're recognizing breakaway provinces and saying you're independent. And they're sending the California legislator who said California should be independent on that trip. So I don't know if anybody's picking up on the symbology, but it's potent. Let me see if I can find Jackie Spear.
Yeah. Well, and so really, for the Armenians of California, know that we are with you. We view you as brother and sister Californians in the same way that we view our indigenous brothers and sisters of California as our brothers and sisters of California. We are all one people. We are all one. Armenians born in Armenia, raised here in California, living in California. Well, you know what? You're Armenian, yeah, but you're an Armenian of California now too. You are as much a Californian as the rest of us. You're invested, we're all in this together, whether we realize it or not. So it's about time that we all wake up, notice what's going on, really truly take stock of the gross ineptitude, and then come together in the genuine effort and hope of finding a real viable solution which benefits all California. Viva
Why on,
todos
Jason?
California.
Viva California, viva!
That's awesome.
I totally agree with Jason on that one.
I do
Right.
too.
We're all one. We're all one big family here in California. Rock, California.
Yeah. Absolutely, we are. That's why we're doing it. Let me just show this real quick. So, 2006, Speer calls on President Bush to pay $6.5 billion tab by Jackie Speer, October 3rd, 2006, in the California Progress Report. You can't find that anymore out there, but she did say it. State Senator Jackie Speer, does it make any sense that at the same time the state is slashing, cutting, and burning higher education, higher repair, and healthcare, we're sending $50 billion each year? Does it outrage anyone else that we've been doing this for more than 10 years, racking up a total of $360 billion? Secession from the Union is beginning to seem like a sound financial move. Secession from the Union is beginning to seem like a sound financial move. Jackie Speer, October 3rd, 2006.
And so this gives me, as the head of Calexit, the CEO of the whole shebang, the top dog of the movement for independence for us all, gives me a chance to say this. Madam Speer, we would really like to talk to you. If you would consider it, we would have you on our show. We would give you time on our platform to discuss your thoughts and opinions as a fellow Californian, both on secession, self-determination, whatever you want to call it, as well as other issues that are still just California related. We view you as inspirational and a fairly good role model for the rest of elected officials who might be too scared, feeling that saying such things as you have said might be too risky for their career. Well, Jackie Speer, we want you. And just imagine, the Uncle Sam, we want you, but a giant California bear pointing, saying, we want you. Because, if you'll have, some time set out to come and speak with us, and hey, if you'd rather it be a non-publicly broadcast, just a private conversation, we can arrange that as well. Marcus's email is up there, marcus.ruiz.evans@gmail.com. My email, JSRVS, phonetically speaking, that is Juliet Sierra, Romeo Victor Sierra, 86@gmail.com. If you wish to, please contact either one of us or both. We can set this up. This could be the beginning of something really, really awesome for all of our California brothers and sisters.
So there she is, Jackie Speer, Californian, still fighting for California. She was the one that went down to see Jim Jones and got shot a bunch. So she's famous for that. Yeah. So she's still out there. She said it. We might be the only people bringing up what she did. Okay, Jason, last comments? Take us out, brother.
Yeah, I would just say one final time for those in the back. Before I say it one final time, CaliCoin is in the process of being forged. We may have to wait 24 hours to see how the friendship token series is turning out. If it passes muster, then you will all know. We will post updates on our social media, and then I will also ask Marcus to do a quick video update so that it's publicly viewable, so that everyone can know we are you know, because once these friendship tokens are done and that's all finalized, we can move on to the Calixcoin Copper Series NFT. And that is the thing that we've been working on, the thing that everyone's been waiting for. The Friendship Token series is specifically Calixcoin tokens that we are making for movements who are seeking the same thing that we are, 100% legal and peaceful means to self-determination, and who are committed to making this peacefully happen by coming together, working together in the interests of saving lives, saving people, saving time, saving resource. So now that that's all been said, keep posted. There should be an update. You know, fingers crossed, eyes crossed, toes crossed, cross it all. Should be an update sometime within the next few days saying that we are ready to start putting out the Copper series of Calixcoin NFT. Once we do that, we should also be able to have people ordering it at that point in time. It should be possible to order your own Calixcoin NFT, 1, 2, more, however many you want, right? Whatever you're looking for. The custom platinum and palladium editions that are going to only ever be made to order, those you will have to email Marcus and myself, put us both on that email list, please, with the emails I just provided for Representative Spear. Let us know that this is what you're interested in. We will get together with you and make it happen. Now, that's actually all been said and out and over. One more time for the people in the back. Viva todos Californios. Sí se puede.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Oh, Daniel Miller's here? Oh, hey. Daniel, do you want to come on the show?
Oh, wow. How long has Dan been sitting in the back there?
I don't know. I just saw. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, Mr. Miller, if you're wanting to come in, you'll definitely get a good 5 to 10 minutes of our platform time at least.
Oh, okay. He's busy today.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
You're always welcome. We had Daniel Miller on the show a while back. You're always welcome. Okay, well then we'll end it there. We had a great discussion about the Socialist Party. We are not democratic socialists. Anybody could join. You have to join the platform. There seems to be a lot of support for it. So watch this show and go to the. Well, hey, if you want to come on the show, Daniel, we'll if you want to come on the show, we'll spend another hour, brother. But if you're busy, I get it. No problem. We love you. Nothing but love for our friends over at the Texas Nationalist Movement. So today's episode you saw us talk about the Socialist Party, the formation, what it is not. And I hope you found that interesting. Again, you do not have to be a socialist to be part of Calexit. Calexit is not a socialist movement. We are working with the formation of a political party as we work with any political party. So leave it there. As Daniel Miller says, Texas Nationalist Movement, let's go and win. I'll leave it there. Thank you, everybody. Jason, I couldn't do this without you, brother. I hope you know that. You leave me hanging, Jason?
And I couldn't do this without you either, my brother. Hermano.
I love you, bro. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Everybody take care. We'll talk soon. Okay. Love you all.
Mucho gusto.
Con mucho gusto.